Guys, welcome along to Aston Villa from the stands. I hope you're well. Make sure you're smashing the like button on this video, whether you're watching live or on replay. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and get in the comment section, whether it's here in the live chat or on replay, on your thoughts, especially your overwhelming thoughts on pre-season. We're going to break that down today. We're going to have a look at who impressed, who shone, who stood out, who is definitely someone that has caught the eye, and also which players have bitterly disappointed in pre-season as well. You may have one or two names rolling off your tongue. We've also got a bit of transfer news to talk about as well. The likes of Jack Grealish, Joe Gauci, Salamakers, and more. So big up to each and every single one of you. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you're good. Hope you're well. And of course, let's get into today's show. Of course, Villa finished yesterday after a whirlwind of a weekend. Absolutely crazy weekend where we had back-to-back games. Saturday, Marseille. Sunday, Villarreal. It couldn't have been more contrasting. It couldn't have been more different in terms of what we played and experienced. But Unai Emery went about his business. He put out some two teams, competitive sides. And let's see what you guys have made of everything. But yes, big up to each and every single one of you. Look, we know that pre-season felt like, for me, three different segments. That's how I've probably looked at pre-season, and you guys may view pre-season the same. I felt pre-season was split into three segments. I felt it was the pre-America, the America, and the post-America. And what I mean by that is the following. We saw different styles of games, different personnel, different options all throughout those type of games. And I don't know if that was a good preseason, a poor preseason, or what. But what I do know is certain individuals got their time to shine, and certain individuals try to make it count. But yeah, big up to you guys. Big up to Brainy Brian who's in the chat, LA and Vamos VJ as well. And we'll definitely get into your comments. I hope you guys are good and well. So, if we were to break down the three stages of this preseason, as I said, the Hansa Rostock and the Walsall games were, for me, what I would genuinely call a waste of time. And the reason why I say it was a waste of time is basically it was a run out for a load of players who are never going to feature in Aston Villa's Premier League side. It was also a waste of time in the sense of we never really got to test or see or develop a Villa team that absolutely wanted to do some of the fundamentals of an Unai Emery formation. We saw in Hansa Rostock that we developed a back three, and we had a go at playing that. But when you really break down the Hansa and the Walsall friendlies, it was basically all about Tyrone Mings, Pau Torres, Kamara, Jacob Ramsey, and that was about it. A little bit of Ross Barkley in there, Marco Bizzle, but really, and Garcia. It was like those were some of the names that were absolutely, where we were trying to cast an opinion on. But predominantly, those games, those matches, Hansa and Walsall, for me, I don't think we learnt much at all. What is quite ironic is the only time we played the three at the back was against Hansa Rostock. Out of all the preseason games, the only time we played the back three was the Hansa Rostock one. So whether people started to get excited thinking, oh, Unai Emery may use this formation, Unai Emery may play this a little bit more, we didn't see it. Big up to Cy in the house. Big up to Stephen as well. Hope you're well. And of course, Brainy will definitely talk on Matty Cash as well, because we are going to talk about those who performed and those who stunk it out. That's the real talk. That's the real talk. So next conversation then is the American tour. And I'm just introducing what I feel preseason was like. The American tour. I want to know what people's thoughts are on that US preseason tour. Like, if I had to say to you, what do you think the preseason in America felt like? We played Eintracht Frankfurt, and then we played Nashville, and we played St. Louis. Again, all of the first teamers were back, but what it was a classic 45 minutes here, 45 minutes there, 60 minutes here, 30 minutes there. And we started seeing Unai Emery use combinations of patterns. But what, again, for me was the main feature of it was all about fitness. it was a commercial tour. And I felt the Eintracht Frankfurt game was good, but the pitch was terrible. But the Nashville and St. Louis teams were crap. And I felt like they really made it a pre-season vibe. There was a lack of intensity. I don't think, again, we really learnt much. I don't think we actually learnt much from those games. In fact, I'd argue that actually we probably, the biggest blessing was that we didn't get any injuries. But again, a few players shone, a few players rose, goals were coming in from the same sources. Malen was back to what he does best. But yeah, it was one of those. It is true, we don't have Emmy in goal against Newcastle. Is Marco Bizot has to start. Emmy is suspended. LA says it felt very dull. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on what you felt the US tour was to you. Big up to Captain as well. Big up to Captain. Said just dropping in for the algorithm. Big up, Josh Simon chat. I'm off out. So much love you. Big up to you. Have a great time out. Hindsight. Have a good time out. And and big up to Captain Mike in the house as well. We have some good young players, and are they good enough? And there's definitely, when I talk about players who shone and players who stand out, there's definitely going to be someone I'm going to be speaking in that bracket about as well. So there we go. Look, let's go to the next phase then. Let's go to the next phase, which is the post-America tour. Because like LA, I found the American tour dull. I just felt, again, it was very flat. And if Villa's pre-season ended with just that tour, maybe one game after, I'd be sat here scratching my head going, we're way off the pace. What are we doing here? We're not ready for the Premier League season. However, fortunes have changed. Things have changed. Because I thought the Roma, Marseille, and Villarreal games were fantastic. Whoever came up with this back-to-back weekend thing, brilliant. The Roma game at the Poundland Bescott Stadium, a great spectacle because we played 3 established European teams who would be playing in Europa or Champions League competitions in AS Roma, Marseille, and Villarreal. For me, that's the gist of pre-season. That's where we really had a pre-season, and that's where I'm absolutely delighted to say that's where we've come to fruition. Goals, intensity, still defensive worries, but I felt like it geared us up to where we needed to be come the start of next Saturday. Newcastle 12:30 kickoff. So if it wasn't for those last 3 games, I would have genuinely looked at preseason, Walsall, Hansa, and the 3 American games. I would have gone, preseason absolutely stunk. Terrible preseason. But I think those last 3 games saved our asses, and I think you guys probably agree with that as well. What I quite liked about the weekend games as well, if I had to look at in summary, is Marseille was a real cagey, intense game. We know 10 yellow cards, but it got us to an intensity of what opening day Premier League fixture would be like. Villarreal was, again, a real test of character, humidity, temperature, tactics, ball playing, keeping possession, tiring down the opposition. That's where I saw it, and I thought it was a really good contrast into what we've had. So, look, overall for me, I'm absolutely delighted of what I've seen in the last 3 games, and I now do believe that we're actually set to go and take on Newcastle now. I can't believe Grealish is going to Everton. Yeah, we're going to definitely talk on that one go. LA says that Roma game was brilliant. Absolutely was. Agree, CJ, but rather Everton than Spurs. It's true. It's true. And big up to Meeks in the house as well. So, let's talk about individuals then, because I know Brainy Brown started on Matty Cash, and I want to know people's thoughts on that. Look, Matty Cash is going to be a player that, again, will always be on the constant conversation of people's tongues. The overriding thing for me is we still look like we have some defensive issues and problems to deal with. I think we have some really difficult defensive situations and problems to deal with. There is a weakness and a vulnerability from whoever we play in that back four. It seems that we're going to concede. We even saw yesterday Pau Torres and Consa getting constant bollockings from Emi Martinez, leaving their man, having runners. Let's be real, if Villarreal converted their chances, they could have scored quite a few yesterday. They had a stinker in front of goal. But ultimately, for me, I think, again, the defence, there were some questionable performances in that defence over pre-season. Unfortunately for Tyrone Mings, two really massive mistakes in pre-season that people will remember in the Eintracht Frankfurt game, and then, of course, in Marseille. Then you go to Pau Torres, who, again, the same things, looks great on the ball, but defensively looks so vulnerable. And at right back, we're seeing Cash and Young Rowe and Bogard at times fill in, and we don't seem assured at right back. What also probably worries me is our right-hand side seems to be constantly targeted. And I will not be surprised if other Premier League teams sit back, look back and go, do you know what? That's the side we need to attack. That's the side we need to attack. So there we go. But yeah, I hope everyone's good. I don't understand if anyone's happy about our defence. Same as last year, far below standard. Was it last season? I agree. A big signing this window would have been a big motivator. Glad we keep our big guys, but a big would be nice. Yeah, let's see what happens in the transfer window. Still plenty of time to go. I reckon we win open day of the Prem though, although it's pre-season. Newcastle at Port Vale, Isak won't play. Exactly, that's where we've got to really hurt them. I also think, look, is Evan Gesson going to be our last big name? Is he going to be the one on the mantelpiece? Is he going to be the player that we turn around and go, yeah, we have signed someone? Is Evan Gesson? Isn't Mings a bit like on intact? Can be brilliant, but always got a mistake missing them. And that's the thing. Tyrone Mings' mistakes, I always say this, when he makes a mistake, people remember it. When Pau makes a mistake, people don't. It tends to be that Mings' mistake lead to goals, Pau Torres's don't. So there's that. So that's the defence. I don't think anyone in defence had an outstanding preseason. No one was there like, God, they've got the shirt. I don't think anyone dismantled it. Even at left back, it could still be a toss-up between Luca Dean and Matson. But I think Luca Dean is gonna claim it. Tom said Trossard no future. Arsenal agree. I pray we just don't concede first. We always seem to do that. Yeah, we need to be at Villa Park against Newcastle. We need that first goal, 100%. I hope West Ham buy JJ for 40 minutes and we get a defender. Then I'll be happy with a window. I still think we need that defender. Stephen said, was Canvo? And no, I believe so. I believe that hasn't had any fruition to it, Stephen. So we'll have to wait and see. I think if we go into that midfield, then interesting performances in that midfield. I think Yuri Tillemans and Kamara basically do what we've come to expect of them. Classy on the ball, look like they're gonna, unlock a defense. Progressive ball carriers. Defensively though, I don't think many people actually look at these players enough defensively. And it's something I don't really, because I'm more focused on what they do on the ball. But sometimes we have to ask, what are they doing to help the defense in that situation? But I actually think that Kamara and Tillemans just did what we expect them to do. Tillemans has had a few nice assists. Not bad, not bad. But then it was probably the one for me was Onana. Onana was a player in pre-season who looked like he was trying to set a tempo. He was someone who looked like he wanted to go up a gear or two. And there were certain games where Onana, for me, was getting kicked and fouled all over and couldn't get that rhythm. But Onana, for me, was a player who, when you go into that central midfield, he was trying to send a message in his pre-season performances. Look, Una, I'm here. Second season, £50 million man. I wanna be back. I wanna be here. I wanna be ready. Did he do enough? John McGinn. Again, I'm going to talk on John McGinn. I'm going to talk on John McGinn. Has John McGinn done enough? Again, in pre-season to give Unai Emery an indication of, look, I'm the captain. This is my position. This is my role. Again, those are the conversations I have about John McGinn. We've seen McGinn play a variety of positions again in pre-season. In that double pivot, he's played on that right wing, and he's even gone in as the 10. 3 positions in pre-season. Where, chat, is John McGinn landing in this Unai Emery team? Where is he landing? Where is he saying, Unai, you have to play me? No other player was chopped to move around, apart from Bogard, I would say, more than John McGinn, our captain. Does that not cause concern? I keep hearing this term, Swiss Army knife. Okay, Bogard, 4th choice defender, can fit out a right back, can go. Yeah, maybe he's our young Swiss Army knife, but you can't have a team full of them. You know, you can't have a team of jack of all trades, master of none. We can't have players who are so good at doing okay in other positions, but no one's mastering it. And I just feel like John McGinn at Villa is becoming a jack of all trades, a master of none. He isn't, for me, mastering a position to go, I'll play here every week. What he is saying is, Unai, if you name 10 players, I'll fill in the 11th spot. That's what I feel with John McGinn. That's what I genuinely think. That's what I feel. I would like to know everyone's opinions in the chat on John McGinn, because I haven't even started on Bailey and Ramsey yet. But I would love to know people's genuine opinion. Again, I'm not slagging off John McGinn in terms of his performances. I'm not slagging off John McGinn and what he does as a captain or leader. But what I am questioning here, what I am going to question here is jack of all trades, master of none. How long can this go on in an Aston Villa shirt for John McGinn this season? I would love to have gone, look, Unai, I want to play in the double pivot. So you either bench me or I'm starting over Kamara and Tielemans. I'm going to show you that I'm good enough to start over those two. Not go, Kamara and Tielemans having a double pivot. Okay. So I now will go for the right wing or 10. I don't mind. I want to see him grab it by the horns and go, do you know what? I'm having it. I'm having it. I'm having a double pivot or nothing. So let's see what you guys. Big up to Duncan in the house. I hope we can sell one player, sell Bailey Runs, and get one more in. Absolutely going to talk on those two. McGinn is getting on, but he is a leader. We have had some great Scots leaders at Villa. That's true. Yes, we're going to talk on Salamak as well. There's mixed reports coming on about him, but hopefully we do put a bid in. We need a McGinn in the team. He brings morale and he's solid wherever played and can be clutch. Again, got no doubts about his leadership qualities, got no doubts about his character, and I've got no doubts about what he adds to the dressing room. And I'm saying not sell McGinn, he needs to be in our squad. But what I'm saying is McGinn good enough to just master one position in this Villa side and make it his? Because we know Yuri and Kamara as master of full positions. We know Ollie Watkins. We know Morgan Rogers is. We dare I say it, we even know where Leon Bailey and Jacob Ramsey want to play. But where is McGinn mastering? McGinn is a useful utility player. I have to question, should be captain now? 100%. I feel a new captain, one that will be vocal to the rest of the players, one that will take the team by the balls and tell them where they're going wrong. Good leaders in there. CJ interestingly says, Tielemans or Onana are next captains. Onana's an interesting one to put in there. Tielemans are pretty Buendia Bailey out. Big shouts. We're going to come on to those attacking players soon. Yeah, Tielemans is definitely captain. Yuri, your captain needs to be one of the first names on the team sheet, 100%. And a captain needs to start. And that's what I say about John McGinn. Love him, love his character, love what he brings. Got no question on his desire to play for this. But I reckon he's 8th or 9th on the team sheet. Now, some people say, oh, his first name on the team sheet. Well, tell me where. And that's when that conversation dies. You keep telling me John McGinn's first name on the team sheet, tell me where. Because again, I'll go to pre-season. He's played in the double pivot. He's played right wing. He's played in the 10. Yeah. You didn't see Yuri or Kamara play any other positions in pre-season. You didn't even see Ezri Konsa be moved to right back in pre-season. You didn't see Ollie Watkins play a different position. Morgan Rogers, when fit, played in the 10. So everyone in pre-season played the roles that they want to play. McGinn was still used as that utility. But the main man for me who stood out and needs a shout out is Hemings. I think we all know that Hemings in central midfield has absolutely raised an eye to say, do you know what? Someone like Ross Barkley, who keeps getting injured, why aren't we putting more faith in Hemings doing that? Why aren't we putting more faith in someone like Hemings over like a Ross Barkley? Because as sentimental as we want to be and as hopeful as we want to be about Ross Barkley's just spent another pre-season on the medical bench. Ross Barkley, again, don't care how much he cost us, don't care the way. Ross Barkley has been another player in which basically we know we're not getting a full season out of. Yet he's 4th or 5th choice in that central midfield rankings. Why can't Hemings go now, hey, Unai, listen, I'm ready to step up. I'll be fit and available. I know I've got Kamara, Tielemans, Onana, McGinn in front of me, but I'm willing to fight. I'm willing to be around. I want to be in this first team. I'm probably going to be a bit more reliable than Ross. Do you get what I mean, chat? I think Kane Hemings has done enough this pre-season to go, do you know what? Play me in the squad at least. Not playing me in the starting lineup, not play him as a first or second choice sub, but basically to say, play me in that utility position when you need me to come in for central mid. When there's an injury with a Kamara or a Nana or a Tielemans or a McGinn, for me, Hemings should be in that matchday squad. That's how I see it. That's what I think he's done. That's why preseasons are worth it. And I'll tell you what Villa's biggest mistake was. The season that Jaden Philogene cooked in preseason, before he sold into Hull, Villa had a choice. Sell him or loan him or keep him. And Philogene burst on, and everyone's like, hey, yo, this Philogene guy, maybe we should keep him. Instead, we moved him on. I actually am going to say this. I think Hemings will develop so much more if we keep him, not loan him out. Keep him where it's good. Keep him where he's understanding how to play the Unai Emery. And now, I'll even further this. If Kane Hemings becomes the player that he's showing and could be, then it makes the Enzo Baranchea situation a lot less stressful. It now makes the Enzo Baranchea situation make more sense. We get rid of Enzo and everyone's going, but why? There's a great player there. What are we doing here? Where's the backup? And all of a sudden we go, Kane Hemings. That's the reason. So massive shout out to Kane Hemings. He's done that much in pre-season for me that I'm willing to go, do you know what? He needs to bump up above Ross Barkley. What's the point of Ross Barkley if he's going to keep being injured? As much as he has a contribution, he can't stay fit for us. Reiterating other comments, our defence is poor, too much reliance on Martinez to get us out of jail. Mings plus is best. Torres easy to throw the ball. Consa poor position awareness. I've got to agree with DA a lot on that. Should get Consa as captain. Again, yeah, Ezra would be an interesting one. Would be up there. I'm all for Euro Tielemans. Dunker, don't like Goldson as captain Jarrah as well. They can't influence the referee from goal, I agree. I think keepers being captains pointless. They can be vocal to rest. Mainly they play. Yeah, they can't be. Sorry. Barkley's proper quality, but his injury record is a mad, really frustrating. Exactly that. Exactly that. Ross Barkley, we can't keep going on and on about hoping and coping. When the bottom line is this, the bloke spends more time on the sidelines than he does on the pitch. Hemings a ball, correct. I said weeks ago, Bartley's Robin Living could sell to mid-table team for and get rid of wages for SCR. It's a good point, Jono. Big up to Jono in the house. Emi Buendia before Barkley. Oh, interesting. And we are going to go on to our forward players. Am I missing any central midfielders? I don't think so. So we will go on to those forward players now about pre-season. Bogard and Hemings need to stay with us. I think they will, CJ. Keep the good kids for Cups and Europas. I don't think they're in a rush to do it, Si. Big up to my guy, Ken M, always coming in clutch on the channel. He said, I've got so much time for Buendia. Let's go on to these topics then. And big love for that. Big love for Ken M with a super chat. We rate that a lot. as Vamos VJ is hyping up. And guys, do keep running up the like button for me. Keep subscribing, and make sure your notification bell is well and truly turned on, so you never miss an upload, people. Okay. Let's start with an easy one. Let's go Morgan Rogers to start with. Morgan Rogers, before his injury, brilliant. Was doing what Morgan Rogers does best. Contributing with the goals, contributing with the overall Villa attack, looking like another season of cooking coming. I'm really ashamed that he gets that injury that misses us on getting him to see another game in pre-season at Marseille Villarreal. I really would have loved to have seen a bit more of Morgan Rogers in pre-season. But at the end of the day, Morgan Rogers for me, you know, is one of Villa's best players, is the player we should be building the team around. But does he have competition for his place? We'll have to talk about it. So let's talk about it. Emi Buendia, my guy. Bottom line is, I've been heavily critical of this guy for a couple of seasons. My own personal opinion has been Emi Buendia has felt a waste of 30-odd million pounds. That's how I feel. Felt like he's never really encapsulated the Villa faithful. I think people have had hope and expectations of him. We've had glimpses of a pre-season in America 2 years ago until he got that bad injury. This year, he almost said, look, I've got one last go at this. I've got one last go at this now for Villa. And do you know what he's done? He's taken it. And I rate that and I respect that. I absolutely respect players who go, do you know what? This is my last shot. And do you know what it probably reminds me of? And people may actually quite like this link, and this is a really positive link. Do you know who Buendia genuinely reminds me of about a Villa revival? Alan Hutton. Alan Hutton's Villa career was in the pan, down the drain, looking lost, looking like he was never going to play for us again, being loaned out X, Y, and Z. And then all of a sudden, Alan Hutton got one last go. My gosh, wasn't it one beautiful last go? Becoming a Villa legend, scoring that famous goal against the Blues. It was just that type of vibe. And I feel like Buendia has done the same. I actually think Buendia's gone, look, I'm doing everything to have one last go. I love that this club gave me an opportunity. I love that this club still has kept faith in me. And I love that I know what I can do. Maybe there is an Alan Hutton revival type on the cards here, people. Maybe there is this type of one last go, one last dance. But the only thing that will stop Wendy, and I really mean this, is the bloke's got to avoid an injury. If there is an Emi Buendia injury early on in the season, if there's an Emi Buendia injury that puts him out for longer than a month, that's it. It's done. The romance is done. Buendia has to stay fit in the first 3 months to give himself a chance of having a Villa revival. Has to. And that's me on the premonition that we're not going to sell him or loan him. If he stays and he's going to be on number 10 cover, he has to stay fit. And there's some good points in the chat here. Does he stay until winter transfer next summer? Oz preferred and we get a replacement. Exactly. Has to stay fit. Then we'll assess in January. And then we'll see how much game time he has. If he's not played much and he's been fit, I can imagine he goes in the winter. If Emi Buendia is playing loads and stayed fit, then we're holding on. Simple as that. Buendia and Dougie feed Ollie. Love that, Canem. That's what we want. He's got his confidence back too, I think. Agreed. Buendia has played his way back into the squad. It's just his final ball, but love his tenacious appetite for the game. Yeah, he really knows what it takes to be a Villa player, doesn't he? He had a good loan as well last season for Bayer Leverkusen. I can see Bartley leaving, to be honest. Same. Buendia can cover the number 10 role for Rodgers, 100%. And I've got to say this, is that, look, Covering that number 10 role does then again come back to John McGinn. If Emi Buendia is now going to be on number 210, it does put John McGinn again in that precarious position of where's McGinn going? So Buendia's caused a good headache. I genuinely believe at the start of the window, Buendia was a player that Uno probably would have looked to get rid of. But the performances can't be ignored. His contributions can't be ignored. And therefore, he may have done enough. And that's what preseason is about. But let's talk about two players who simply have not done enough for me. And it's two names that roll off people's tongues and two names that worry me because these guys are either going to be starters or they're goners. And that's Jacob Ramsey and Leon Bailey. There is not one person who can convince me that either of those two took their opportunities in pre-season. There's not one person who can convince me and say they've done enough to start for Villa. There's not one person who can tell me that if those two goes, we're going to lose sleep over it. I'm that willing to let both of them go that I would be okay with Ian Matson being my left wing cover, and I'd be okay with it just being Donyell Marlin and Evan Gesson. With maybe, even dare I say it, let's play Matty Cash as a right backup winger if we need to. Oh, that's how much I'm sick of it now. That I'd actually be willing to play Cash as my third choice, second choice right winger. Leon Bailey's had opportunity after opportunity. He's had time after time, minutes after minutes to try and get himself back into form. Hasn't done it. I don't get how and why Villa fans think, oh, he might come good this season. Where are we getting that from? Where are we getting that from, chat? Help me with that one, understand that. I actually think that this idea of having names like Bailey and Buendia build our squad. Well, how can two ghosts improve your team? The only way I can see Bailey and Ramsey playing well this season is around Halloween, because they'll blend right in. Casper the Ghosts, because they're ghost games. They're absolute ghosts. Games drift them by, no impact, no meaning, no substance. Yet Jacob Ramsey will play a pass and someone scores, and everyone goes, but Ramsey got an assist. Yes, he did. He passed the ball and someone put it in the top corner. He's step pads. Ramsey's stat pads. Ramsey's impact in games are minimal. He'll have that one moment. He'll have that one moment. And that's it. The rest of the game, you don't even recognise he's on the pitch. So Bailey, I actually think you recognise that he's on the pitch because the ball keeps getting fed to him and he does nothing with it. I actually think Bailey, you actually take note and go, oh yeah, Bailey's out there. Bailey's out wide. But he does nothing with it. Absolutely nothing with it. Cash was a winger before, so knows the role, does. If Myers then, I think he and Bizarro are a great combo. Backup goal, it can give confidence. I agree. Bailey's like playing with 10 men, hates it, anonymous 90% of the time. Yeah, anonymous in terms of his impact on the game, but very aware that we've got a Leon Bailey right wing and Cash at right back sometimes. I'm very aware. Jacob Ramsey, genuinely for me, I forget he plays. I will watch Aston Villa games sometimes and go, bloody hell, I forgot Ramsey plays. But then he'll go and get that assist. And the stat padders will go, but he got an assist. So how can we say he's not had an impact on the game? He got an assist. I actually am now at the point where let's get rid of both. Let's recuperate some money, some wages. Go get one more player to strengthen. I just don't see how Bailey turns it around anymore. I really don't. I feel like he's that far gone. But there we go. Ramsey's glorified finisher again. Hates it exactly. Exactly. It's just a fair point. So let's talk about the positives of our wingers. Donyell Marlon, my guy. You're here. You're here now. You've arrived in preseason. We see you, Donyell. We see you. You've done your right wing role. You've done your number 9 role. You've put the ball in the back of the net and made it look easy. You've contributed with assists. You want that shirt. You've made an impact. You've said to Unai, don't you fricking dare put me on the bench behind Leon Bailey. Don't you dare. And I'll be real. If I see Leon Bailey starting ahead of Donyell Marlon on Saturday against Newcastle, my head's going to absolutely fly. What has Bailey done to deserve a start over Donyell Marlon? Oh, but Unai trusts Leon Bailey. He knows him. Nah, trust Donyell. You signed him in January, play him. He's better on the right, Cam. He's better on the right. So Donyell Marlon, for me, I salute you. You've really stepped it up. You've been the star man. You've been the guy really that we've needed. You've helped him with the contributions and not left it all to Ollie and Morgan. That's why I'm at. My guy steps up. He steps up. So I'm happy. The other wing at Evan, we've had a brief 20-minute cameo. I reckon we've seen 40 minutes of Evan, 40 not 40 million, 40 minutes of Evan get on. Probably 40 minutes of Evan. What would I say? Strong, physical, direct. Probably had more impact in his little cameo than Jacob Ramsey did and Bailey all pre-season. Few good tackles. That one against Marseille when he got when he got to the byline, cut one back. Ramsey could be a Hutton scenario last. He's way past that because Ramsey's never been casted out by Villa. So the whole the whole the whole Leon sorry, the whole Jacob Ramsey situation for me is the whole Alan Hutton scenario is Hutton was casted out by Villa. He was sent on loan to Spain, other places, and basically told, yeah, you're not ever going to play for Villa again. And then he gets to come back. Buendia is more of that than Ramsey. Ramsey's basically been told, hey, you got injured, come back and try again. Hey, you got injured, come back and try again. Hey, we still love you, Jacob Ramsey. You're still very key to our plans, Jacob Ramsey. Gets copious amounts of opportunities. JJ doesn't fit our new system. He is a CM. He's terrible out wide, and we don't need players who aren't reliable to our philosophy. Jamoa from Academy fits better even than JJ. Yeah, haven't even mentioned Jamoa Aloba yet. But let's talk. It's good to touch base on him again. Not Starboy. Hemings was. I think Hemings walks away as the best young academy product. But Jamoa has a bit of shoulders about him, a bit of carry, a bit of. Do you know what? I will step up. If you put me in the lines, then I'm going to give it a go. But again, the pecking order for him is massive. You've got Buendia, you've got McGinn, you've got other central midfielders who can play in that 10 role higher than him. And then Ollie's going to hold down there. Unless Donyell Marlon doesn't want to be that backup 9 or we need him out wide, then Jamoa, again, maybe could take the 9 role, but that's about it. We definitely need a backup 9. Definitely need that. But yeah, he did really well. Him and Hemings can walk away really proud. So can Rowe. They can walk away saying, do you know what? We held our own in that Villa squad. We didn't look out of place. We held our own. We weren't a detriment to the way in which the side played. Emery is crazy about Bailey. He seriously is. He seriously is. That's what I'm worried about the weekend. Cass plays best when overloaded in midfield. JJ can be decent, just the profile traits doesn't fit the left wing. Yeah. Big up to Luke. Let's go and get let's go get someone. Um, Most pressing immediate issue. Dendon got off the wage bill. Literally zero interest in him. Not happening. Got to rip it up. We've actually come to the conclusion that he's training with the under 21s. We're gonna have to terminate his contract and rip it up so he can go away on a free. That's where we're at. So the final man that I want to talk about is Ollie Watkins. I think Ollie Watkins for me delivered a really clean, efficient goal scoring pre-season. And if that's how my number 9 is going to play for the rest of the season, then my gosh, we've got a really, really good number 9. We've got a guy who's going to propel us at that table. Don't get me wrong. Ollie still did Ollie things in pre-season. He still missed absolute sitters. He still missed absolute chances at the point in where he was having to look at the big screen to see some of the chances that he missed. But ultimately, I thought he was a sharpshooter. The ones in which he doesn't have to think about, the ones in which he just has to turn, swivel, bottom corner, that's the Ollie that we know. And as Duncan said, Watkins looked the sharpest I've seen in pre-season. Absolutely. For me, he's one of the biggest takeaway points again. We've got an in-form Ollie Watkins going into the new season. We're not sat here going, Ollie's looked way off it. We've got no backup number 9. We're a little bit in trouble. No. What people are saying is look, we need Ollie to stay fit. And if Ollie does stay fit, then we're going to be absolutely fine. We've got no one sat there going, shit me, Ollie's way off. No one's saying Ollie's off form. If we went into the season with no backup 9 and Ollie scored 0 goals in pre-season, we'd be ill. We'd be spewing. We'd be crying out, going, we need something in that 9 position right now. So yeah, big kudos to Ollie. I'm so happy that it's worked well for him. Big kudos to him. Uno ain't done with Villa yet. He won't leave us. Absolutely true. Newcastle may still phone it. It's true. Newcastle is still in a mess with their transfer situation. We will have to keep an eye on that one. Ollie is great off the ball too. The runs and cause of chaos for defenders. Love it as always. Absolutely. I think if we don't win the Europa this year, we'll get top 5. We may so move on. A big year ahead, I think. I think he's got a big year ahead. I think there's a lot of pressure on him from himself and the expectations. If he comes close to those objectives and expectations, he survives. If we're miles off it, then you know the drill. Video saying, can we get Josh to 40 likes? Yes, do smash that like button, people. And yeah, as Duncan said, Ollie equals form and goals equals World Cup. Very true. And as it stands, Newcastle have no striker there in the mud. So that's my rundown of pre-season. I think individuals, some absolutely flourished. Hemings, Watkins, Buendia, Mallon, all can walk away, heads held high, going, yeah. Some shameful performances from Leon Bailey and Jacob Ramsey. Some questionable performances. And the defence still need to look at each other and go, we got to tighten this up. This ain't good enough. This ain't good enough how easy we're being leaked on. So there we go. But let's go to the Jack Grealish situation then. I'm sure you guys are all aware. But Grealish, yeah, it's a here we go, isn't it? It's a big move for him. It's a big move for him, and it doesn't quite feel right. Here it is. Here it is. Jack Grealish has completed his medical as a new Everton player on loan from Man City with 50 million buy option. Doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel right. Now, David Moyes. Playing under David Moyes' team can be difficult can be interesting and can sometimes be really hard to cope with. A David Moyes team isn't always necessarily known for its attacking, its guile, its fluidity. But what I do feel like with Jack Grealish is that he's going to go to Everton and he's going to be the big fish. You know that analogy, big fish? I think that's what his role is. And I think if you look at some of the players under Moyes' team, like a Jared Bowen at West Ham, a wide man whose career thrived. Moyes does like wingers. Moyes does like players. And what I would say is Evertonians are going to love Grealish. And the reason I've heard is this, is that why is it linked to Villa? If the window had drawn out and Grealish and the window was closing before the first game of the Premier League, Villa could have snapped up Grealish. But Villa apparently were waiting till the end of the window to see and assess his situation and then could have been enticed by it. That's the news going around about Grealish. However, Grealish was so keen to join a club, wanted to start the Premier League campaign right, and get himself in Thomas Tuchel's squad for September. England have an international in September. Grealish needs to be playing. If Grealish wants football, he needed to find a Premier League club where he was going to play at least the first 3 games in, plus a cup game to go, hey, Tuchel, I'm here. So Grealish's move was based on the fact he wants to play in the World Cup, he needs to be playing regularly, and he needs to force his way into the England squad now. I think if, again, I'm going to stand by this. I actually think that if the window was closing a week ago, I think Grealish could have still been in a Villa shirt. But he didn't want to wait. He had plenty of offers, didn't want to wait. Everton basically were the first to go, hey, Man City, whatever it takes, we're doing it. Whatever it takes, we'll do it. What do you need from us? Okay, loan fee. Okay, fine. Wages covered. Okay, fine. 50 million option to buy. Okay, fine. They were there, front off. No negotiations, no stalling. Just straight up, let's do it. It's worked well for all parties. That's always good for us getting free kits. It was different at home at Villa, it's true. Everton have been short of quality for a while. Moyes can attract good players. He's doing well, old Moyes, isn't he? Film as well, when he gets good minutes, he's usually one of the most foul players in the league. So more set pieces for Everton. They'll love it with a bit of Decore, etc. Who else have they got? Tarkowski, Bramthwaite. Yeah, they're going to have some bullet headers in there, aren't they? But as David said, he can be too injury prone. And between Grealish and KDH, Dewsbury Hall, Everton's going to have that interesting dimension this season. Moyes done some shrewd business there. I think they found it difficult. I don't think they found business easy. But there we go. So, shame, because I thought he was going to be the Villa smoke screen. I thought maybe he looked Villa bound at one point. But it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be. So, there we go. I don't know if anyone saw the news of. In fact, just to firm this up, actually, here was the report I saw on the Grealish situation. Just so you know where I got that info from. It was here. Lots of clubs wanted to sign Jack. Everton were the first to make their move and put their money on the table. Grealish could have waited until deadline day for other opportunities to materialise. The most important thing for him is getting back playing as soon as possible. He's absolutely desperate to play and to get back into the England squad, hopefully next month. Everton have not messed around and have moved quickly to get Grealish. He is raring to go, wants to settle in quickly, is looking forward to working with David Moyes. Just like that. Bish, bash, bosh. So they've done it. So, yeah. A bit more Villa Park news is this. Someone asked about it in the chat earlier, so I will report it. Villa Park naming rights. It hasn't been a top priority up to now. We know Villa Park is a historical name and we cannot change the name. That's a given. But an alternative is something we can look at absolutely in time. Well, Francesco has given us an update. Villa Park will not be changing its name. This name and right situation is not a thing at the moment. And that's the thing. At the moment. But again, he wants to make as much money as possible. He wants to put Villa into the limelight and he wants to make Villa, you know, a superpower in our division. So things like that are going to bring in revenue. It's going to bring in money. But I think everyone knows right now there's been a lot of change. How against are people to having the name and rights changed? Let me know in the chat. Would it bother you that instead of it being called Villa Park, it was called the Red Bull Villa Park, or the United Arab Villa Park? Like, would you be really opposed to that name? Because I think whatever happens, and this is where I sort of rest on it. Take Walsall Stadium, the Bescott Stadium, right? It's called the Bescott Stadium. Guess what? Its official name is the Track Leasing Bescott Stadium, and before that, it was called the Poundland Bescott Stadium. Naming rights. Everyone called it the Bescott. If Villa Park changes its name and has something put in front of it, yeah, we ain't gonna change the way we call it. It's gonna be known as Villa Park. Now, it's whether it changes the whole idea and it becomes Villa Park is taken out of its title, then there may be issues. But ultimately, for me, if we get a ton of money and someone puts something like Red Bull Villa Park, who cares? We're going to call it Villa Park. So give me the money. We won't really call it Red Bull Villa Park, and everyone's happy. Yeah, so it's a no-brainer for me, as Echo's saying. And yeah, size. I do feel Red Bull sponsorship now with Villa. I think it's going to be something to do with Red Bull. Massive brand, aren't they? Massive brand. So on that, I find this quite funny. I actually found this tweet hilarious. Someone put this. So Aston Villa is pleased to announce Red Bull as an official partner of the club. And then someone put, we finally signed an RB, which is quite funny. I find that quite funny. Officially signed an RB. But in terms of Red Bull, again, a massive brand name, massive money, massive deal. I had a feeling something going on Red Bull. If you're in my watch-alongs, I kept saying, why are Villa players drinking out of these Red Bull bottles? They were these massive Red Bull sponsored bottles on our pre-season. And I kept saying, anyone who's on my watch-alongs will know. I kept bringing it up because it was annoying me. I was like, those Red Bull bottles look weird. I know, for example, in America they have Gatorade bottles and Powerade bottles, but yeah, I was fascinated by Red Bull being that Verstappen and Rogers advert incoming. That's true. That is true. But yeah, Red Bull will be sold, I'm sure, in copious amounts now at Villa Park. So anyone who loves a Red Bull will be able to drink that, I'm sure, at Villa Park. But yeah, I just think that it was a bit obvious. The more I think about it, it didn't come as a surprise to me because I was like, oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that on there. Okay. And then quick touching on Salamakers in a second. But guess what? Joe Gauci's a goner. Guinness is now at Villa as well. A number of EFL clubs and clubs elsewhere in the UK were interested in Joe Gauci, who has joined Port Vale on loan. Bloody hell's bells. Port Vale. Does anyone know what league Port Vale are in? Are they in League One or League Two? But we're not going to have to shit ourselves this season that Joe Gauci may end up playing in goal for us. Like, he's gone. He's on loan. Happy days. And look, no disrespect to him, but he absolutely had a stinker in pre-season. And when we are having Villa fans, like Ronnie saying, this Gauci is worse than Olsen, you know it's a bad time. That's a bad old time. What have they put in the Bull and Miller? So the Villa Red Bull Park. Oh, I'd hate that, to be fair. It's still being called Villa Park by me. Like that's no doubt about it. But yeah, bad times for Joe Gauci. Port Vale, what? League One. So he's going to be playing Port Vale going to be playing League One football. Okay. And thank God for Marco Bizzot. He now feels like so important to us, doesn't he? All I want is a proper right back. Offer Bailey and Matty Cash and get Wan-Bissaka or someone of that quality. Marcel right back was quality. Moreira. I'm worried, Paul. I'm still hearing reports that Unai's not interested in signing the right back, and we're going to go with what we've got. And maybe a centre back. Maybe a centre back, but who knows? Who knows? Big up to Paul. Everyone was saying Bogard last season, he did come strong. Unfortunately, though, Gauci is just showing no signs of developing and improving. So, look, may he get some experience, may he get some development at Port Vale, may he actually play some games, and maybe he can have another go. But I think it's a really poor piece of business all around. Gauci learned himself very poor preseason. Again, a sign-in that just hasn't made sense. Joe Gauci hasn't made sense in terms of the recruitment. Why we got him, I never know. But there we go. There we go. And then finally, some Salamanca's news and such. Allegri likes the versatility and quality of Alexis Salamanca's and wants to keep him. Aston Villa are interested, but he wants to stay in Italy, and AC Milan aren't open to selling. Plus, a new contract could be offered. I think to land this player is going to take some massive U-turn. Some massive U-turn. Either a complete bump contract from Villa that Milan aren't going to offer him, some guarantee from Unai Emery, but what it seems is manager likes the player, player likes the manager and club, player's going to get more money, player's going to be happy in Milan, player ain't moving. That's how I feel about Salamanca's. It's one of those dreamy ones again that we could sit back like a Denzel Dumfries and go, how I'd love to sign someone like that. How I'd love a Dumfries for Salamanca's, but reality is we ain't getting him, and that's where we're at. So listen, it's a testing time. I've come to the conclusion that we're probably only having one more signing. I've almost given up on signings now. I've given up on signings and concentrating more about the boys we've got and what we're going to do. And after tonight, my attention will completely turn now to Newcastle, build up to Newcastle. I'm going to try and get a Newcastle fan on for a live chat to see how they feel about the season. I'm going to get a Newcastle sort of, predicted lineup video out as well. And as I said, we're going to really sort of stomp it up this season with the fan content, etc. And we're always going to have these real talks, the open talks, whether people like them or not. I want to come and say my piece on Villa, and if people don't agree, that's fine. And if people do agree, that's brilliant. We just need to trim the devil. Still glad we got Coutinho off the books. Absolutely. We get Mohamed Kone. People said I watched his footage and he's a bit of a Grealish type. The people who put the letters on the shirts, we hoping we do not sign him, look like they'd be working overtime. Oh yeah, that's a horrible name to get done very quickly, but there we go. And to not spell it incorrectly as well. That would be an absolute ball ache for them. But yeah, nevertheless, people, I appreciate you out here, and appreciate you guys tuning in as always. We'll be running up the content. We'll be running up the coverage, and yeah, really looking forward to seeing what the season brings. People, what this season's going to bring, we'll have to wait and see. Really do. I'm excited. We've got after today. My whole attention is turning straight onto Newcastle, straight into what we're going to do, how we need to set up, what Newcastle fans are feeling, and all that good stuff. So, yeah, thank you to everyone who's tuned in. I really appreciate you out here as always, and thank you for being a big part of Aston Villa from the stands. We are going to keep grinding, growing, and if you guys can have your notification bell turned on, that's the easiest thing you can do for free for me is have your notification bell turned on so you never miss an upload. Who's next coming in at Aston Villa, Josh? Your guess is as good as mine. Honestly, no idea. But yeah, it's all quiet on the Rodgers front, and that's what we're going to wait and hear and see 100%. And looking forward to Saturday. Same here, Brainy. Same here. People, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. Is game on Amazon Prime, is it? Did not know that. Did not know that. Thought it'd be on TNT. Yeah, make sure you smash a like on the way out. Make sure you subscribe, and of course, big up to Ken as well for the super chat. We really do appreciate it, my guy. And yeah, if you're watching on replay, then let me know your thoughts as well. People, big up Echo, Brainy, Paul, David, Jared, Sai, VJ, Duncan, David, Pure Villain, Captain, DA, and everyone else who's been in. Thank you for your contributions. Up the bloody Villa. We'll see you all soon. Take care, people. Ta-da.